Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Kiska brand Bajega. Today on the show we have someone who's a Padma Shri, a Padma Bhushan, a 4-time National Award winner and the first Asian to win 2 Oscars in the same year. However, it's not just the awards and accolades that set him apart. It's his reputation in the industry as one of the most hardworking and humble person that makes him a true enigma. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the legend himself, A.R. Rahman. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you.
Welcome to Kiska brand Bajega, sir.
Thank you.
From acting in Doordarshan's Wonder Balloon to the first music break in Roja, to winning the Oscar to becoming a global icon and now a writer-producer. How has been the journey of brand A.R. Rahman so far?
Well, in my mind, I don't think myself as a brand, first of all. For me, it's passion.
Right.
Because I come from a musical family, and for me, boredom strikes very often.
Right.
So I have to do something different. I have to explore something. I have to evolve. I need to make my life interesting, make my work interesting for others. I think my work is a blessing. And it's a spirituality. It is because it heals myself and it tries to heal other people also when they need something like a balm.
Okay. So music comes naturally to you. And as brand A.R. Rahman, even though you don't consider yourself as a brand, I'm sure the world will disagree. You've also turned a writer-producer with your film, which is up for release, which is the 99 songs.
Yes. I think the first 10 years have been music.
Right.
And when Shekhar Kapoor introduced me to Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then Andrew, when I was sitting and jamming with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and he was saying, "Hey, do you have any stories?" I said, "Why is he asking me a story? I'm a composer."
Right.
And then I was thinking, why not? When you mix with people who don't see the way you are, but what you could be.
Right.
Because in India, if I go to a camera shop, like, you're a musician, why are you going to a camera shop? So you get judged. But in Hollywood, where I'm sitting, I can go to any workshop. I can listen to a workshop by a cameraman or a director or an editor or a makeup person or a costume person. I'm a member. So all these things actually changed the way I was looking at myself.
Right.
I said, there's stories now, a lot of stories. There's one decade where it was very boring. But the world is interesting, cruel, interesting, and now stories could be told to heal, or stories could be told to build bridges for better understanding. And I think this is the right time to do things. I was working in theatre for almost in 3 big musicals.
Right.
And Broadway again, and Canada, Toronto, London West End, Bombay Dreams, and Lord of the Rings. So that taught me a lot of things. And so why don't we use that in cinema? In movie, you compose a song, you finish it and give it to the director, it's done. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go back to it. It goes to the public and they love it or hate it.
Right.
But in theatre, you compose a song and they do a workshop. And said, I like this tune, I want this in different lyrics coming here.
Beautiful.
And then you start reworking. And then you think it's over? No. Then they say, no, that's too long. Can you make it short? Or that lyric is not working. People are actually, then you have previews.
Okay.
So in previews, they test it out.
Right.
The song working. People are crying. Oh, people didn't like it. They were all yawning. Then you have to change it. So everything's instantaneous in a way and spontaneous and evolving. So it's not fixed like a movie thing where it's there, done and dusted. No. Even in the 2nd or 3rd month, if something better comes in, we add a song. Or in another production, there's an improvement. So that actually fascinated me. Before the whole of 90s, I was like, what I do, that's it. I'm not going to touch it. It comes from God. You're like a Zaria. You're like that kind of a thing. So then this actually, I don't know, in a good way or a bad way, kind of evolved me and think that writing and rewriting, that came into the picture more.
Since the start of your career, you've always crafted masterpieces and hits that transcend language and borders to get you at a very high brand equity. Does that put pressure on you every time to deliver constantly with the ever-evolving and changing consumer expectations?
It does.
Okay.
And sometimes it goes terribly wrong.
Okay.
Because
rarely with you.
No, sometimes you take a 180-degree turn and they say, what is this guy? Oh, it's gone. And then it takes, like after 4 months, no, actually it was right. Sometimes you have to give time to people. In music especially, I don't want something instantaneously catchy because then it also dies down. But if it's deeper, with more thought and more enough goodies put in, they discover it slowly.
So you agree that a lot of people say with A.R. Rahman's music, it grows on you.
Yeah. So that's why I think for my movie, I'm saying like, please don't release it in a month. Give it 3 months. Please don't make me a victim of my own thing.
Okay, great. Okay, you've been an early adapter when it comes to technology. And you recently debuted as a director with a virtual reality film called Lamas, which aims to give viewers a multiple sensory VR experience. Do you think it's important to experiment with technology so as to always be ahead of the curve and continue to reinvent yourself?
Lemas came into one of my friends, the CEO of Odyssey headphones, Shankar. He came home to my LA house and he gave the VR headset.
Right.
And I said, what is this? No, it's the next big thing, AR. And I put that, I'm not going to wear this. It's irritating. And I threw it off. And then 3-4 months later, I bought a phone and attached to that.
Right.
And I watched the first image. I was blown away. It was so real. And even the still image in 3D, 360 was very captivating. And I said, this is probably the next big thing.
Okay.
It can't replace cinema, but it's going to coexist and give something which cinema doesn't give an audience.
There are artists globally who are actually doing performances or recording their performances in a hologram effect. So do you think the complete performance of A.R. Rahman Troupe coming alive through HoloLens?
I think we can. We should do, because it's exciting for kids.
Right.
And there's so many ideas we can do, because you have people who have never traveled the world, even in villages. And this is not only for rich people
Absolutely.
or city people. Imagine pilgrimages, and people who have not gone to Tirupati can wear the stuff. They can have the darshan. People who have not gone for Hajj can have that. People can go to the Vatican and to the Himalayas. So I think there are many other possibilities, not just the one which the cliche of what we think, and how it can influence a person, make a person happy, and get something unreachable reachable.
Okay, so we're talking about music,
Yeah.
Rahman Saab. So I wanted to understand from you, with so many regions and ethnicities, sir, India is a highly diverse market when it comes to music. Yet you've managed to compose music which resonates with the entire country. How do you do it? Is there a formula? I always wanted to know.
My mind was always open, because my father was a very open musician.
Right.
And when he died, I used to look at all the records he had. He had Chinese, and he had South American records. He had African records, and I think he kind of set the whole foundation for me, because if I find an African musician playing something extraordinary, it wouldn't put me off. I'll get excited.
Right.
If I find a Chinese, koto player or a gushang player, I get excited. I see the possibilities of harmony in that. And the same with the Arabic, maqams, where it's Bayati or Hijazi, when they sing, which is very similar to the South Indian Carnatic raga or Hindustani raga. So I see commonality between all these things, and harmony, of course.
Now let me actually talk about the international market, where your music in the international market is celebrated and well received. Is the process same while composing music at a global level?
So here, when I do things, they don't judge you. Can you do a dance song? Can you do a folk song? They just come. Said,
Right.
Yeah, I will do anything. So that trust. But there you get judged.
Okay.
And for different purposes, different people are there. Of course, the movies which came to me were directors whom I liked, who liked me. And that's one thing I prefer, rather than working with a strange person, having like a corporate kind of thing where 12 people come like a mafia to you.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons I came back and I said, I think this is the time to do our own movies, where nobody controls you.
The tag associated with A.R. Rahman today is Oscar winner A.R. Rahman. Do you believe that Oscar has given a huge boost to your brand equity?
Yes, of course. Like my agent said, now till your death you'll be Oscar winner. Even after that you'll be Oscar winner. And so it is one of the biggest awards. Some people value it, some people don't. But for being an Indian composer and then going there and winning it is a huge deal. Not just because of just talent alone, but when a movie is produced, it needs to be given for the awards. The score has to be given, the music has to be given, and there are certain parameters which has to match. It's not just like, oh, Lagan was better, or Roja was better, he could have got Oscar for that. It's not about that. It's about, at that year, what was the most impactful music
Right.
for them.
Jai ho to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so brand Rahman, there are literally millions of people around the world that have a strong connection to your music, be it the generation that grew up with it or those who associate your songs with special moment in their lives. We rounded up a couple of questions from the internet and would love you to answer them.
Okay.
What? Let's start. So Riya Sharma asked you a question, which is one song of yours you'd never remake?
I think it's Choti Siyasha.
Ah, beautiful. That's one. Aditi Pandit, glad to know that everyone's idea of cool is a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
Do you remember this picture?
Yeah, I do remember. So I think the reason why people wear sunglasses, you know that, right? So I hide behind. So like, you have a kind of a layer so you can be yourself. Otherwise, you get intimidated.
Oh, okay. So this is what Sneha Gupta says. Is this relationship status acceptable? Single, taken, or mentally dating A.R. Rahman?
Oh my God.
That's your fan following.
I should ask my wife about that.
Okay, this is one. Nice. Your favorite composer in Hollywood, Bollywood, Hollywood, everything is A.R. Rahman. And the thing is, this guy is everywhere. Give others a chance.
Of course, that's why I do few movies.
Okay.
So that other people can also. I would love to have other people. Otherwise, I could do like 24 movies a year. I have the capacity and drive to do that.
Very considerate. What was Rahman thinking when he made the Endgame theme music? Did you get some criticism for it?
Yeah, now I watched it. It was almost 12, 13 million. And now I understand why he did that. And, those kind of comments are like, where were you guys before?
We'll continue our symphony with India's pride, A.R. Rahman. See you in a short bit.
When I composed it and we recorded it, we played this to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are more attached to my film songs hated it.
Okay.
I said, what is this stuff? Why are you shouting like this?
Welcome back to Kiska brand Bajega, in conversation with the pride of India, A.R. Rahman. With consumers moving to the T20 of content, with apps like TikTok, Instagram and the like, what are your views on music pieces that are getting extremely popular based on their 15-second hook? Would Rahman sir ever take a shot at it?
Everything is a cycle. When you need real things, you come back to it. It'll go back to live performances.
Okay.
Because the soul connection of a person playing and you see somebody, the artistry of them. Recently you saw Lydian Nadaswaram, who's from our conservatory and who's learned outside it. And then the whole world was amazed at it.
Absolutely.
And that's still, when you have amazing people like that, you will want to watch it. And just that lack of depth or lack of things makes things shorter because you can't sustain it. But if you have things of depth and which engages you.
Right. Talking about engaging content, you as a brand have composed music for a lot of big brands like Hero, like Airtel, and very recently Apollo. Trend is that most brands approach A.R. Rahman for anthems, right? Are brands also approaching you for the 30-second formats, or is brand A.R. Rahman equal to anthems?
I'm quite happy when, I just don't want to go back to the short forms. I like this long songs and because they coexist also. They can shorten it but then it's created for a bigger length and there's much more freedom, I feel.
We have a couple of really eager brand balas that would like to ask you a few questions. So can we hear them?
Sure.
Hi sir, this is Manvendra. So there's this trend of remaking of the songs from old Bollywood films and albums. So which is your favorite composition that's been remade?
Good question. There are good ones and bad ones. Let me explain first. Sometimes in the pretext of remaking, they just want to attach names. And then recently they've taken some of my numbers and completely ruined it. Very, very annoying. But then I said, okay, patience. Love. The whole world is about fighting. Let's not do that. Some of the remixes which I liked was, actually I liked Hamma Hamma a lot, what Tanish did. I think the reason being that they want a nostalgic quality and they want an old soul in it, which can be recreated. If you're patient enough, you can just go in and it's the 7 notes, right? But nobody has the patience anymore. Nobody has trust anymore. They just want, okay, take that, do that, let's do. It's any expression, any song, it changes according to, unless some people say like, some singers put so much of harkats in it, like, please don't mess it up. Please stick to the original.
Okay, the last one, please.
Hello, sir. Your son made his debut with one of the beautiful composition in a Mani Ratnam film. So, do you think he's becoming a brand just like you?
He's too young now, but the past 4 years, actually, since I was mostly in the South and doing my movie and, 99 songs, and I had more time with him, more time with my daughters and my son, my family. So we would, because, kids, they don't learn from other people. When you teach them, they just sit and they want that time, quality time from you. And that's what I realized. And these 4 years have been really good. And now you can see that he's trying to compose, is almost there. And he released his first single, Sago, in Tamil. Next, I think he's doing an English one.
Interesting. And is it easier to work with him or more difficult?
It's tough because you can shout it. I mean, even though I don't shout much, sometimes I shout. Because when I shout as a composer, he takes it as a father shouting at the son.
Okay.
So it's very tricky. And then I have to explain to him, like, I didn't shout at you because I was angry with you.
You're wearing a different hat.
Yes, exactly. So it takes time, but then they're so sensitive that suddenly his face will change. I said, how are you? I mean, I'm okay, Daddy. And you can say, like, immediate, like, a micro fraction of a second, his face changes. So it's too sensitive.
Great. Thank you, Brandwalas. So like every brand has a product life cycle. There is an introduction, there is a growth, there is a maturity, and an eventual decline. You have attained the title of a legend, and rightly so. Is there a thought of what is the legacy behind brand A.R. Rahman? Before you answer this question, we'd like to showcase to you the product life cycle that we've done for brand A.R. Rahman.
Okay.
So we've tried to encapsulate your PLC with Roja, Bombay, Kadalan. There are aspects like the Oscars and the more recent movies like Tamasha, Rockstar. You've got a music school that you've started.
Yeah,
Is that a part of legacy building?
Yeah, absolutely. Thing about knowledge is it's better when it's given and when it's nurtured. Because I grew up in I learned from teachers who are like amazing. Because without those teachers, I wouldn't be here. And they were all from, I used to go to small houses and then I went to Stanford and I looked at Stanford. I was like, oh my God, such a beautiful college. I wish we had one like that, for music. And I think very next year or a couple of years later, I told my mom I need a place to start a school. And we had a car park. And she said, I'll build a building for you. And she built this beautiful building, smaller one. And we started the school there. And then we expanded it. And Mr. Mukesh Ambani came and opened it in 2013. And the thing about the school is you don't even know where these guys are going to go. One has won the world's best. And some of them have become composers, some of them become singers already. And a lot of people have been involved in 99 songs. And it forces me to be in the game.
Beautiful, wow.
It forces, because I need to set an example to these kids that I'm still taking.
How interesting is that?
Yeah, it forces me because then if I don't do well, like he's not even good, why are we going to the school?
One last question about the product life cycle that we talked about. There is going to be an eventual decline in a product life cycle, right? Today, what brands are doing is to reinvent themselves, to actually avoid the decline phase, right? What does brand A.R. Rahman plan to do? Because currently, you're at the peak.
In India, we set a date for everyone. Okay, this lady acts from this age to this age, or this hero acts from this. But when you look at abroad, when you look at Kurosawa, he made a movie when he was in the 80s and some amazing stuff. And look at the director of Mad Max. Same director comes back and makes an even more better movie. So when you see all that, you feel like the knowledge and the experience is more when you get older. You see you're becoming more fail-safe because you've done all the mistakes and you learned your thing, so you can execute much better. But your mind should not get influenced by people pulling you down.
Words of wisdom by brand A.R. Rahman. We have one last game, and this is called Brand Googly. We are going to be testing your brand knowledge by showing some popular taglines and campaigns, and you need to guess which is the brand. Easy, right? But here comes the googly, because the lines are represented in the form of a puzzle that you need to crack first. For example, read between the lines can be represented something like this. So let's play brand googly. So what do you think this one is?
Superhero, hero.
Hero? You've composed this one?
Yeah.
Hum Mein Hai Hero.
Hum Hai Hero.
Beautiful. The next one? Yeah, what do you think this one?
Airtel, I think, right? Livery Moon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've also composed the iconic brand tune for Airtel. Any memories of that? What was the brief?
I remember the brief. I kept actually rejecting a lot of commercial work because I came from commercial. I was a failed commercial composer. That time, 300 they would come only for scratches to Chennai and they'll do everything in Mumbai.
Okay.
So, and then when I did the movies, the same people came back, but I said, no, I won't have time to do all this stuff. Then I was in England doing Bombay Dreams, and I felt like there was the connection of India's going because I'm sitting in London and doing this stuff. And I left many movies to get the experience of theatre with Andrew Lloyd Webber. And when this thing came, I said, okay, this will be a great, because they wanted me to act in it. It'll be a good way to connect back to India. And that's one of the reasons why then I wanted Rajiv Menon, my friend, to direct this one. And we had a great fun doing this stuff.
Interesting story behind the story. Let's have the next one.
Oops, that's road tire Apollo, right?
Absolutely, it's going the distance. Right. And how is the experience with Apollo, the Ganga one?
The Ganga one is one of my favorites. I think
Right.
I always wanted to do a song on Ganga.
Okay.
Even from the 90s, actually, but it never came together. Why? There was no reason. So when they said we want something very close to the nation, something which should be very earthy and touching and all this stuff. So I said, I've used Vande Mataram, Janagana Mana, Satyamev Jayate, Jai Ho. So I'm left with nothing. And then I was thinking, okay, Ganga is one song I wanted to do because Ganga is about the whole essence of purity and the spiritualness of which within every Indian. And why don't we make this symbolic as an Indian song?
We are actually celebrating, Rahman Sahab, the Independence Week. You've not just created songs, but you've created an anthem for the nation.
This,
Vande
I think, it's a beautiful experience because I was doing movies. I felt like I need to do an album. I need to do something beyond movies. So when I composed it and we recorded it, Mehboob came with this beautiful line, Maat Vijay Salam. Mehboob, the lyricist, and it was a great addition to this project. We played this to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So the people who are more attached to my film songs hated it.
Okay.
I said, what is this stuff? Why are you shouting like this? And I said, okay, maybe it's not working. But then I saw the way they picturized it. And then I remember Deepa Mehta came and I just played let's just test her out. And she started crying. She started crying, weeping actually. And then Vijay Singh who's now in Fox,
yeah.
who was heading Sony Music, he started crying. I said, okay, there's something in this. Again, when I wanted to record this, I wanted to record it on the 27th night of Ramadan because it is a very special day.
Beautiful.
And then I come back, there's no engineers. Everybody had gone to sleep. And I'm calling everyone, nobody's coming in. And mobile phones had just come in.
Just come up, yeah.
So then I said, okay. And I called Bharat Bala. And I, wow, what do you want? I said, come over right away. Why? I just want you to record this song. He just comes in and I said, just press this record button. I put it on a loop and I'm just singing the chorus. I sang it like 7-8 times. The 8 bars was looped 7 times and I kept singing and came out and he was like crying. His eyes was red and he said, "Yaar." And then I said, okay, there's something there.
It's been an absolute pleasure to converse with the maestro of music. However, we are at the end of our show. You're focused on the pulse of the nation, capturing the imagination of listeners worldwide with your music. Your legacy is one that will live on in the hearts of all your fans, even years from now. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
एक सूरज निकला था कुछ पारा
Kiska brand Bajega gives you a chance to visit our studios and interact with India's biggest celebrity brands live by answering a simple question. Which tyre brand has A.R. Rahman recently composed an anthem for? A. Seat, B. MRF, C. Apollo, D. Michelin. Send your answers to us by commenting on our Instagram post and following our page at Kiska_brand_Bajega. Don't forget to tune in next week, where we have all the action from some of the biggest celebrities in India to some of the biggest marketeers on India's biggest marketing show, Kiska Brand Bajega. This is Aditya signing off. Happy branding.
प्रेमिका के साथ फनी फेसेस बनाते हो, 3-4 सेल्फीज लेते हो, लेकिन आखिरी सेल्फी में वो उठ जाती है और जोर से आपको पिल्लो फेंक के मारती है, लेकिन प्यार या मजाक में नहीं, वो सच में आपको मारना चाहती है. मॉर्निंग मर्डर मिस्ट्री.